morning, everyone. Wishing you all happy Navratri and happy Gangor.
Same to you.
Thank you. Thank you, Bala. So, as we all begin our journey on empowering ourselves emotionally, as much as we focus on our physical health, we do not focus on our mental and emotional health. And we always think that mental and emotional health, more or less, people think it intertwines or it is the same. There is a lot of awareness which has started specifically for mental wellness now. There are a lot of people who have started talking about depression, anxiety, and they have started talking about it openly. For years, there was a taboo about it. People will not say that I'm feeling depressed or I get anxiety attack, I get panic attack. There will be personality disorders which people want to hide it from someone else. And for that reason, there were many people who suffered with it, but it never came into light. But recently, a lot of Bollywood actors, actresses, they started openly talking about it. Especially Deepika Padukone, she said like she went through that depression. And what is a feeling that one goes through at that time. And as much as someone requires help for physical disorder, they do require help for mental disorder as well. But can anyone on the group can explain me what is the difference between the mental disorder and the mental well-being specifically and emotional well-being? Would anyone come and can speak about it? What is mental well-being and what is emotional well-being? Anyone would like to raise their hand and speak? No one? Okay. When we speak about mental well-being, we are talking about everything which is connected with our mind, our brain, how our mental faculty allows us to process the information and act on that. It deals with our brain chemicals. So whenever our brain chemicals are not in balance, there is some sort of an imbalance in the chemicals. In that case, the person is going through or suffering with some sort of a mental disorder. But when we speak about the emotional well-being is all about how you actually process your emotions. And how you process your emotions, how you deal with your emotions. How much are you in a balanced state while you are dealing with your emotional state? And everything that happens in life is always having a foundation of how we feel about certain things. If you feel great about it, automatically your body will produce that chemical. If I'm very, very happy, emotionally, I'm feeling very happy, my body produces endorphins, dopamine, serotonin, and my body is more in balance. But if I'm constantly hiding my sadness, I am in anger, there is an adrenal rush. So sadness, grief, sorrow, there are many other emotions. Either we are verbally or we are physically. We are emoting those emotions to people. We allow a gateway to our emotions. Majority of the times we hold on to our emotions because we feel very unsafe to express those emotions. As we spoke about it last week, that it's very important to feel safe to express our emotional. Emotional safety itself is an emotion. feeling safe to express how we feel about certain things, and sharing those emotions to someone. So, at a foundation level, your emotional well being is the foundation stone to all the other faculty of yours. Whether you speak about your mental wellness, whether you speak about your physical wellness, whether you speak about your spiritual wellness, whether you speak about your financial wellness, I can call it emotional immunity. If I'm developing physical immunity, because how I deal with the situation, how I deal with any virus, any bacteria, any fungus, depends on my own physical immunity. Virus may enter my body, but if my body immunity is strong, my body knows how to fight it back. Similarly, there will be different situations and different people communicating in different ways. How I will respond to those situations, how I will react to those situations will define my emotional well being. Unknowingly, we are so much programmed to react in every situation rather than responding in those situations. Since I am programmed to react, I'm not even giving myself any time to process how I felt in that situation. And it is safe for me without judging whether I feel sad or whether I feel happy. It really doesn't matter, because ultimately everything is impermanent. Either you're happy or either you are sad. Neither your happiness nor your sadness will stay permanently. Can anyone claim here and say that, once I cry, then I just cry for years? And there is not a single moment of mine without crying. Yeah, probably you are addicted to constantly communicate through crying. There are people who are crying for everything. They're like, oh my God, this is so hot, so I'm crying. Oh my God, but that person talks to me like that, so I'm crying. But I don't have enough money. Market is not good. So it's constant addiction to constantly crib, complain, and cry. And there are certain people who are addicted to like in that virtue of being happy all the time or seeing what is a good thing which happened in that. And that habit automatically generates happiness within, and it is very addictive. If I smile, you will feel like smiling. But if my face is very straight, and if I am emoting a lot of sadness, probably you do not even know, but even you feel sad. Isn't it that any emotion that we go through and the people around us, what they are experiencing, we also feel the same emotion at some point? Even if logically we think that, it doesn't matter to me what they're talking about, and it's just a story I'm listening to. But if I'm listening to someone's sad story, if I am watching a movie where I constantly am seeing trauma and torture, there are times we are watching the movie and we are also crying. Someone dies in a TV show and we are also crying. Someone dies in a movie and we are also crying. And that's why we go sometimes to just see a comedy movie. So we just laugh our hearts out. So what's happening around me is constantly impacting me emotionally and mentally. It's at most important to take care of our mental and emotional well-being. If mentally and emotionally you are very sound, and mentally and emotionally you will develop a strong immunity. Imagine, even if it is your career, even if it is your business, if it is your relationship, how you will take the next step and the next action. Your emotional and mental well-being will define that. If I'm responding in every situation, I allow myself to be a listener. I allow myself to look at the situation from a bigger perspective without being in a victim mindset. Probably I am focusing on the solution rather than constantly talking about the problems. And I'm thinking, okay, this is the situation in hand. This is who I am. This is what the other person is. What are the choices and the options do I have? And how do I choose to operate in this particular situation? And when I'm choosing and focusing on solution, there is a lot of hope in that. There is a lot of hope. You are more focused on what you want to do. You have the time to focus on your work, on your career. You know that everything can shift, including relationships. Majority people feel that they get stuck in relationship. There are times I have got people coming to me and they're very, very successful. Very successful. But how do we define success, or how is the social norm where the success is being defined is normally connected to how much money they have earned, name, fame, recognition that they have achieved. And according to the social norm, they are very successful. Probably they are award-winning people. They have made a lot of money and they can handle it very easily. They'll come and say that even if tomorrow you will tell me to make this much money, it's very easy for me. I can handle everything. I can handle the entire world. What I can't handle is once I reach home, I can't handle the relationships. I don't know how to handle that. Probably some of them are focusing more on work because they can't handle the situation at home. So in life, we operate from fight and flight mechanism. The third one is the automatic response, which is freeze. So the modern day depression is freeze mechanism. I neither can fight the situation nor can I run away from that situation. So now, many times you just freeze your emotions. You do not know how to deal with it. But in reality, the only time the solution is when we fight the situation. This is the situation. How do I act? How do I respond? What do I do? The biggest mistake we humans make is that we don't realize that relationship is one thing which requires consistent investment. You cannot say, I invested myself into this relationship and it is done. When I got married, this is how the person was. This is who I was. Everything looked very rosy, but now things look very different. But you have grown. That person has grown. The world around you has changed. And if you are still talking about if point A, point B, and point C change, I cannot say, like, how you, when you do the mathematical equation, if A has a particular number that you are giving, that A is 6 plus B is 4 is equivalent to 10. But if the 6 changed to 10 and B changed to 20, then C has to change to 30. It cannot remain the same. It's constantly changing. So our ability to be able to adapt to the change comes when we have a mindset that relationship you can deal only with your emotional well-being. How you feel emotionally about your own self. What's your relationship with your own self? If I feel very good about myself, I have clarity of what I want in life and how I'm going to achieve that. And in that plan of minds, it's not about me, but it's about everyone else around me. And that defines and gives me clarity how I should invest into my every relationship and every dynamics. And how I will actually practically plan my day out, plan my week out, plan my life out. And I will set the list of priorities accordingly. This is what I prioritize. This is at the topmost priority because this is who I am. Because I'm a person who is more family-oriented person, and I'm constantly cribbing about how I'm not able to focus on my career. It's not going to happen because my first topmost priority is family. And family means many more people around me, their needs, their requirements. If this is what I'm prioritizing, there is a lot of time and energy goes there. Probably I don't end up having so much time to focus on the career. Or the other way around. If your career is your topmost priority, because you feel, and nothing is wrong, you feel that if you will focus on your career, then you will reach a state and everyone else will also take benefit of it. Because you will be on a higher pedestal on your career, you are earning more, you are more secured, you have all the things in the world that you want to achieve. You're being able to give the best educational fees you are able to pay for your children. You are able to do things, you are able to buy things. And you are focusing on that without feeling guilty when you are not being able to sit at home. In that case, also, you are actually then giving it, you are doing it for your family. The problem comes when we do not recognize and identify who we truly are and how we operate. And in that case, there is a constant guilt which surfaces up. And constantly we feel guilty. So if you are focusing on work, you are feeling guilty that you are not there with your child at home. And if you are sitting there with your child at home because you have decided my child is young and I want to spend time with my child, you are not there at your office or you're not being able to do work. And then you are feeling guilty that, oh, I'm a doctor, I'm an engineer, I studied this. I also want to have my career, but I'm not able to do that. So physically, you are there with the child, but you never accept it. So mentally, emotionally, something is constantly eating you up. And you are not even able to give complete energy to your child. So that guilt will tear you apart. So emotionally, understanding our own selves is very, very important. If my foundation of my emotional well-being is settled, then automatically, if emotionally I'm feeling good about myself, my mental well-being automatically will start being in order. If emotionally and mentally I'm fine, I have more energy to focus on my physical well-being. Because if I feel charged to go and exercise, I feel charged that I want to have, then there is no emotional binging. I know what I'm eating. I know this is my sleep time. You have a sound sleep. You feel like going out. You feel like you do not put yourself in isolation. That sense of alone and being alone, loneliness doesn't come up. You laugh more, you smile more. You're more contented. You're more satisfied in life. You are happier in life. And anyone who knows the art of how to produce in that happiness laboratory, the happiness chemical, and to remain in that happy state has always a higher chance of being physically, mentally, emotionally, financially being strong. It is not how much money you have that defines your happiness. It's how you feel about what you have will define your happiness. It's not about the name, fame, recognition that you get. It's all about how you feel about that. You may have everything and you may still feel very disappointed. There might be someone who feel very good as a student that, oh, I passed. And someone who is crying, I came second in the class. I was one of them. I always went late to my school to collect my report card because I always feared coming second. in the class? What if I come second? And it was so traumatic because you have to come first in the class. From childhood, that's what I had seen my brothers coming first. I had learned that you have to top. There was only one thing, either you are the best or you are nothing. And as life progressed, and as I started understanding subconscious mind, as I started learning it, and as I started asking myself those questions of what I'm doing, why I'm doing, what are the options I have, what options do I choose? And then I realized, does that really matter? What marks do we get here? Whether I came second or not? We went to school to gain knowledge and empower ourselves with that knowledge. But our focus remained on what number game was started there. And we get so stuck in the number game. Whether you do business, you are in the number game. How much money am I earning? What is happening? And you forget your own passion. What are you passionate about? What is it that you like to do? Do you really require that extra money to make yourself happy? Our entire thought process is constantly wired with a number game, and number comes only from logic. It's wired with your left hemisphere of the brain. But your strength is always the right hemisphere of the brain, which is your connection to your creativity. If you are creative, the ideas will never stop and you are executing it beautifully. You will automatically open up the flow of abundance. So it is high time for each one of us to start focusing on our emotional and mental well-being as well. If any one of you feel that you go through that stage in life where you feel depressed, you feel anxious, you feel that you are getting panic attacks, if your way of communication is anger, that anger is, as much as it's impacting others, it's eating you up, it's burning you from within. It is completely spoiling your own system. If it is sadness, it's impacting your lungs, it's impacting your own breathing. Guilt is the worst emotion to hold on to. Even if you have done something wrong, but by holding on to guilt that, but why I did wrong, is not helping you or the other person with whom you have done wrong. Rather, your thought process should be, what can I do to them now? How do I change myself as a person? And take the next step for that. And it's very simple to bring in our healthy emotional state, a healthy mental state. If simply we start focusing on, rather than why this happened to me, from why just shift to what next. Do not complicate it. Just in your diary today, write down a big why me, put a big red cross to it, and then with a green pen, write down what next. So any situation that you feel you are stuck, just simply think that, okay, in acceptance of the situation, this is the situation, this is how I feel about it. You guys have learned in the last week that it's safe for you to feel your emotions without judging those emotions in positive or negative. It doesn't matter you feel angry at that time, you feel rage, or whether you feel sad. Whatever you feel, it really does not matter. So you simply just ask yourself that question, and then you say, like, close your eyes and ask yourself, what can I do about it? If you do not understand, and if you don't get answers, that what can you do about it? Imagine the people or know the people in the similar situations, how they act. What is it that they do differently than you? How do they act differently? And once you understand this is how they act differently here, then just learn that in the same situation, if it was unfolding with them, what would they have done? How they speak, how they act, what are the beliefs they have, and simply bring that one change in your life. Simply one change. And focus only on that one change. Do follow that one change for minimum a month. Don't overwhelm yourself with multiple changes. If it is anger, which is a problem, probably the minute you think you are getting angry, just make one change of taking a deep breath in and just decide whenever I get angry, I will not immediately answer and just simply say, okay, I'll think about it. I'll get back to you. It's a simple change that you decide and you do for 1 month, nothing else. And then when you sit in your space, think about it. What did that person tell you? If the person's tone was bad, if this was there, where is that coming from? An angry person is an insecure person, is a fearful person. So if your child is fearful, will you act with anger with your child or with compassion with your child? See that person in the form of a kid. And what is it that that person actually deserves in that at point? In the second situation, if you feel sad, if you feel like crying, that's also actually reacting. And it's okay. Rather than running away from that place, rather than moving towards a bathroom or finding a place where you feel safe to cry it out, just say it's okay to cry it out. And even if the other person feels it very offensive, it really doesn't matter because you are important. And tell them that I'm sorry, but this is what I feel and this is what is coming to me. So simply allow yourself to prioritize yourself, simply to understand who truly you are. And very important that you deal with that situation when you are more aligned. You rethink about that situation. You think of the different options which you had, how you could have responded in that situation. And close your eyes, take 3 deep breaths in, and see yourself in that similar situation responding differently. The subconscious mind is very, very powerful. Even if you are imagining something for subconscious mind, it is actually the truth. Subconscious mind cannot differentiate the reality from imaginary. Majority time you will realize that your problem was itself very imaginary. The person who spoke to you and for which you felt like crying and you got angry did not actually even meant that. But you imagine that to be in some particular way, and that's how you reacted. So whenever you will give yourself that time to imagine that same situation, and if you still feel unsafe, the best way is that even when you're imagining, just go on tapping your karate chop. This allows you to let go of that emotion, what you are experiencing. Even if you are crying, and if you can do that, or if you are in a sitting posture, if you move your hand from left to right on your knees and allow yourself to cry, that's also okay. And there is a difference in both the scenarios. In the first one, without tapping or without moving your hand when you are crying, you are programming yourself with life is bad. In the second scenario, when you are crying or you are expressing some emotion, at that point of time, you are unknowingly letting go of that emotion. You are not holding on to it. And then just imagine the best scenario. For example, if you say money is the problem, imagine if money was not a problem, what would be your life? Close your eyes and imagine the entire scenario. Imagine your house, how it looks like. Imagine your workplace. Imagine your relationships. Imagine yourself, what all possessions you will have. Allow yourself to feel that joy into it. And just to know that I'm deserving of it and I open myself up for this abundance now. Just open your arms and just allow yourself to feel that abundance light coming into you. So it really doesn't matter what situation is, it is how you deal with that. That is what it will make the difference and change and bring in your emotional health and your mental health. It will help you to develop your emotional immunity, your mental immunity. It will bring in the balance. And once you are in balance, you feel empowered. You feel emotionally empowered, mentally, you feel more empowered. The last week, I have not seen anyone doing any homework. Even if you are doing your homework at your own pace, it is okay and I'm fine with that. But guys, please do the homework. So I'm just giving you the key points for today's session. On a big paper, write a big Y and a small me into it. Put a big red cross to it, why me? And then there is an arrow. Take a green color pen and say, what next? And then a smiley face of yours. Make this paper, put it there as a constant reminder to you. In any situation, just identify what is the one emotion, because you are first bringing your emotional health, you are focusing on that. So one emotion which you consider that is problematic to you, how would you like to address that? So as I gave example, if it is anger with which you are responding or reacting, so in that anger, just create a scenario how you would like to react. So rather than immediately getting angry and talking about it, you will be like, okay, yeah. And just follow that for 1 month. Even our classes in which we teach little children, we had a batch of Inside Out where 7 and 8-year-old, we were teaching them emotions and how to handle emotions. They also had learned it very, very beautifully. They also learned. So one of the child, he came to me and he just shared that yesterday when this person was shouting at me, and every time what used to happen, whenever this person used to shout at the child used to get very, very fearful. Child used to feel very bad, and then child used to cry and all. And said, Auntie, I learned yesterday what you said. So when that person was shouting at me, I just imagined a cartoon character. And then he imagined a cartoon character talking to him. And automatically, as you imagine a cartoon character talking to you, he was smiling because the cartoon character, like Tom and Jerry and something, you are doing this, you are doing that. It was only a cartoon character. And the solution was simple. And like the relationship changed, he could start talking. The other person was handling fear. And every time he would actually start trembling. That child said, yesterday night, Auntie, I had fever and I saw that, that ghost coming to me. And first, I was very, very scared as I normally am. But then I remembered what you had said. So then I imagined picking up the cupcakes and I started throwing it on the ghost, and that ghost ran away. And then I was dancing. Children learn it very fast. Children don't make it very complicated. You teach them once, they learn it, they start doing and acting on it. You're grown up. It's okay for you to be child again. And it's okay for you to have that innocence, childlike innocence, that joy and happiness like child. And give yourself that very, very strong emotional well being. So, thank you everyone for joining. Please share with us your experiences when you start acting on that, what happens, because when you share, you are being an inspiration to others. And there's nothing better than being an inspiration for our own selves and for others, because that is where we see that the light enters in us, and that light allows to enlighten others as well. Thank you everyone for joining. We'll continue on our journey once more. Happy Gangor, happy Navratri. Invoke the Shakti within you. Thank you so much. We'll see you next Thursday. Thank you. Bye-bye.